Hi everyone, welcome back to the Graphics Fairy YouTube channel. My name is Sarah and I'm Crafty Paper Bits on YouTube and on Instagram. So for this season, I am so honored to be part of the Graphics Fairy design team for the premium membership site. So this is going to be my very first project, and so I hope you will enjoy it. Before I start the flip through, I just wanted to introduce myself a little bit. So as I mentioned, my name is Sarah. I'm French and I live in France. And so I've been making junk journals for about 4 years now. And I would describe my style as eclectic with a little bit of French touch, as I do source my ephemera and all the supplies that I use at home. And so what inspired me to create this very first project is just my love for old French ephemera and all types of French papers that I find when I go treasure hunting. And I wanted this journal to be a collection of both images from the Graphics Fairy and also from authentic ephemera that I picked from my own collection. So I just wanted to pair both and create a sort of collector's book, like French French papers, collector's book, if you will. And so yeah, that's the journal, and I also made a small collection of goodies that will go with the journal. And I'm just going to start with this one right here. And so this is just a few, these are just a few envelopes and goodies that I wanted to add. Let's start with this plate here. This is an authentic plate, and I just backed it with some of the Graphics Fairy. So I'm not very familiar to the names of the bundles right now, but it will it will come. This was, I believe, an end paper, so I printed that on some linen textured paper, and we have this little bundle here that is tied up with some vintage French lace and a little bit like a little charm here. For the colors, I used mostly blues and reds, burgundy. So these are my favorite colors to work with usually. This is a small booklet that I made with pretty blue hand-dyed papers. And so the cover is some Graphics Fairy premium membership website, and all of the pictures and images are from the premium membership site. So this was a wallpaper piece, I believe, a postcard, and I just glued that together to create a little cover. And I love the teal colors of this. I thought it went so well with the cover, which is like burgundy red. Then we have a handmade envelope. So this is a collage envelope that I made with some pattern paper, watercolor die cut, stamp images that I fussy cut out and, just collaged. Behind the frame here, I put some vintage wallpaper. And this is a quote from one of the Graphics Fairy bundle. So this one is in French, but I believe there's also the English version. And then I put some authentic ephemera, so some business documents and letters. And this is a photo postcard of this beautiful lady. Inside here there's a letter, and I added inside a little dried flower and a photograph, an antique photograph. They used to do that a lot back in time. send each other some dried flowers, some little pictures, and I thought I would add this in here. Thought it was pretty. So that's for the little bundle that goes along with the journal. And that's the journal that is quite chunky, but as I said, it's supposed to be a collector's book, so you should be able to like tuck things in, and I created the cover with some file folder, so it allows flexibility for the journal to grow. And also, a lot of things inside are removable. And so, just to show you what I meant, I love this color combo, this burgundy red with those teal, like greenish blue colors. Thought it was so pretty. And so the closure is a satin ribbon. The file folder, I covered it with some pretty satiny fabric, and I did secure, reinforced the inside and the outside with these little patches of textiles. Then I used some junk mail, you know, an Amazon type of envelope, and I just covered it with some velvet. Behind I tucked some ruffles, and on top I did glue a little handmade booklet. And I don't know if you can see well, but there are some faux flower petals here. And so the cover of this little booklet that you can open on the cover is made out of an authentic antique CDV carte de visite holder from an album. And inside I used some graphics fairy and papers, like marble papers, and a little book plate, and just a little with a business card. This is an authentic, like, little keyhole hardware thing that I attached here. This is the side again, and when you open it up, you have this pocket made out of a vintage doily. I attached here a little bag of goodies, so there are some little bits of laces, of vintage buttons, beads, pearls, and I also added a little coin that I thought was pretty. And so I'm just going to remove that, put that on the side. And then the first thing that is actually removable is this little stack of papers, and this is meant to be a little stationery set. So there is a card that you can send, and this design is from the Graphics Fairy. Again, I love to print the Graphics Fairy designs onto some special papers like this one. I don't know if you can see the textural effect here. And there are some vintage blank envelopes for you to send your letters and cards in. And these are papers from the Graphics Fairy as well. So I just printed them on some tea-dyed papers. And so, as I mentioned when I showed the envelope collection, you could use this or your own vintage photograph and slip it into your card with some, dried flower from your garden, or, I mean, that could be nice to send a little bundle of joy. And so everything is tied with a fancy hairpin. I like to use these hairpins throughout my journals. And this is just a vintage seam binding. And this is the first page. This is a design from the Graphics Fairy. I thought you could maybe add a little table of content here and add a title. some embellishment, a little bit of velvet trim. These are designs from the Graphics Fairy. A little, like a sari trim, a label to write your notes, a handmade card that I made out of an illustration from a book. Lots of authentic ephemera, including this one. Just tucked a handmade paper. So I used a lot of brushes as well, not brushes, sorry, vectors I think it's called. So it's like images without background, so you can actually print these images on whatever types of papers you want. So this is what I did here. I used it onto some cream paper, and I added some stamps, a bit of antique lace. This is an authentic ephemera. And on this side, I added some journaling space, additional ones. This is authentic paper, like vintage paper, I mean. And this one is a frame, again, another vector that I used on this piece here to add some interest. And here I just reused a little, like a card holder that I thrifted, and I attached the pieces together to create like a little ephemera tuck spot thingy. And inside, all the designs here, the little ATCs you can see, are from the Graphics Fairy. So they're very beautiful images. So here we have a little like photo mat that I did, so you can place your own pictures or photograph. So this is another removable piece. Here you have a handmade journaling card. These are postcards from the Graphics Fairy. You can write on the back as well. An authentic antique French postcard. Some ledger papers. Another removable kind of folder, handmade folder. I used some washi tape from the Graphics Fairy here. And inside you have some, like a small collection of papers, invoices, and little flip out, some journaling space here, and then some pockets with goodies inside. Here I printed some beautiful journaling cards from the Graphics Fairy as well. Image from the Graphics Fairy that I fussy cut out. Also this washi tape and this label here. This page, this is a vintage wallpaper tuck spot, and inside I love the contrast with this authentic old tape here. And this is actually a sheet music sheet, I mean. And so that goes inside there. This is a label from the Graphics Fairy as well. I love the colors. I think it goes so well with this like light blue, and yeah, I love the color combination in this journal. Again, a stack of goodies that you can remove from your journal and use in other projects, or just, add here as a collection of goodies. This is again a vector, a beautiful design of this flower, and I printed that on some teal dyed paper. So this is some journaling space, and here is our little stack of goodies. We have a handmade journaling card, some vintage tulle. This is a graphic from the Graphics Fairy. So I thought you could write your notes or add some little pictures here. And then I did this little paper flower on which I glued this coin that I thought was so pretty. So this acts as a little tuck spot. This is an image from the Graphics Fairy. I love the little cherubs here. And you can still write on. There's still plenty of space. And so this was clipped on this page. This is just a scrapbooking paper to which I printed this design of the Eiffel Tower. And this is a wallpaper from the wallpaper heritage, I believe it's called, wallpaper from the Graphics Fairy. Added a little bit of embellishment. When you open this one up, you have some journaling space behind and like plenty of labels to, you know, take out and then glue into your journals, into your journal. This is also a gorgeous design from the Graphics Fairy. And so what I love to do with those larger images is to print them on some like interesting type of papers, as I mentioned earlier. And this one is printed on some like almost transparent typing paper. And I'm just going to show you how you can, like how easy it is on the Graphics Fairy website, premium membership website, how easy it is to find the printables and actually print them on whatever type of paper you'd like to. So I'm just going to take the first bundle that I see here. Well, it is, okay, so that's actually this paper here, was part of the European ephemera. So you have a sheet that is showing you the different images that you can download, and then down here you can just click on the images and they will open and you can just print them. So that's what I did. I used this one and I printed that onto some coffee dyed paper. That's why it's different in colors. But it's so easy. And I don't know, I also printed this one. Gorgeous designs here. But that's just showing you how easy it is to print your things. And if you want to add interest, like even more interest to your pages, then you can just print them on different types of papers. And so that's an example of a paper that I printed on some watercolor paper. This is a Graphics Fairy page, like document, and there was also the back, so I just printed it on both sides. And the watercolor paper has a nice texture, so it does, if you like cut the edges with like roughly, it does look like a bit of like a cotton rag type of paper, just as the ones that they used to use back in time to write the deeds. This is an antique French Femina magazine page. I added a postcard, and then this is another Graphics Fairy image. I just backed it with some embroidery magazine scrap. There's a pocket here with some goodies from the Graphics Fairy again. A vintage button. Another removable piece here. That's just 2 pages that I stitched together and create a little tuck here. This image is from the Graphics Fairy. I printed it on some like lined paper. And this is another example of these, I don't know if you can, yeah, you can hear the crinkly sound. This is another example of some invoice printed on some like nice, interesting papers. There's an antique postcard here. This is also a design from the Graphics Fairy. A little bit of journaling space. Some advertisement that I cut out from a magazine. This is a handmade journaling card. This design is from the Graphics Fairy. You can add your notes around this paper here. I made another envelope. This one is made out of napkin, and I used some details from the Graphics Fairy. This is a washi tape, a little label here, and we have a beautiful French postcard. These little labels here are also from the Graphics Fairy, and so is this beautiful design here and the washi tape on the side. Another vector that I printed onto this teal color dyed paper. This one is actually a little sleeve, a pocket sleeve, and a fancy hairpin, some French book page, and this is also from the Graphics Fairy. So you have a little pocket with its ATC and some little details here. Another removable piece with a handmade card. A beautiful design again from the the Graphics Fairy, and so is pretty much everything on this page. This is a gorgeous wallpaper, and I used it as the background of this page. I have this collage sheet that I printed on some onion skin paper. Oh, it's so pretty. You can just, tear this apart and then glue it onto, the journal or your own handmade cards. It's a handmade card, and this is actually a real piece of ephemera to which I added some checks from the Graphics Fairy. Again, Graphics Fairy, gorgeous page here that I printed on some coffee dye paper. This background paper I printed on a vintage French business document. I added some washi tape from the Graphics Fairy. This is also an image from a bundle. I believe it's a black and white or black and cream bundle. I love this image. It's so pretty. And so you can write. This is some journaling space. And this is just an illustration that I found in a book, and I backed it so you can write on the back. Some wallpaper from the Graphics Fairy, ephemera from the Graphics Fairy, some book page. These are photographs from a French book. And here you have, clipped onto this belly band, you have this beautiful Graphics Fairy journaling card, to which I added a little bit of upholstery fabric. I also added these dried flowers. Onto this page we have a pocket here, some French authentic goodies. This is a handmade card that I made out of some washi from one of the Graphics Fairy bundle. And this is a script, one of these script vector that you can print onto the papers that you choose, and I chose this beautiful blue vintage typing paper, and I thought I don't know, it just turned out very nice. An image from the Graphics Fairy here, a little bit of sari. I also printed some images onto some authentic piece of ephemera to add even more, intricate details. So this is an authentic postcard, a wallpaper that I printed onto some book page. This was actually a French book about flowers and bouquet. Some journaling space. A beautiful collage sheet from the Graphics Fairy. So they also have handmade collaged. If you like more, I'd say, busy pages, background pages, the Graphics Fairy also has plenty of handmade collage sheets like this one. It's so pretty. And everything here is also from the Graphics Fairy, except for this page and this little piece of handwritten ephemera. And we have these little designs here. A little bit of burgundy seam binding, a vintage button, another vector that I printed onto this paper to add interest, and you have some journaling space here. The gorgeous image from the Graphics Fairy. And I created another booklet that you can remove. So this is an image from the Graphics Fairy. So I just folded it to create this booklet, added a little bit of collage here, and when you open this up, you have a little collection of treasures. And so a little bit of fabric here, some gold thread. This is an image from the Graphics Fairy. And we have a dried flower from my garden and other pieces from the Graphics Fairy that I put together, and a little authentic envelope that is tucked here. So I imagine you could, you know, in this little booklet, you could add some precious bits of papers and photographs. I also added this authentic card holder, French card holder from 1901, and I added inside some ATCs from a hardware printable set, so you can journal on the back of these. This is from newspaper and French ephemera kit. We have a tuck spot here, like a pocket with some real ephemera. This is another example of how you can print your the designs from the Graphics Fairy. This is just some coffee dyed paper to which I added some piano roll paper, and then I printed on top of that. Ooh. And so here, this is a belly band with some of their washi. Another script that I printed on some onion skin type paper. And this is a little handmade tag with journaling cards from the Graphics Fairy. More of French, just random French ephemera here, button cards. This is a printable from the Graphics Fairy as well, and so is this beautiful French invoice here. Just added this fabric pocket, this image inside, a little scrappy piece here. This image is from the Graphics Fairy. And here's the last page. So this is an image from the Graphics Fairy. I just did a little bit of collage and watercolor. Inside you have a journaling card. And I made, I added an acetate pocket here, to which I included some beautiful antique from 1791 French document, and then a little tuck here with an additional notebook made with some scraps. And so that's the back. That's the end of this journal. I hope you enjoyed this book and this collection of ephemera. And yeah, I will see you guys in a next video. And in the meantime, have a great spring. Bye bye.